What we're going to do now is we're going to take and mill the little notch on this end. The height of the block is 890 thousandths. So if I come down by 390 thousandths, that'll leave a 500 thousandths or ½ inch left in the end here. So, and I also have to make sure I come back 900 thousandths, I believe. There, just draw a little line on it. That'll work. Again, it's just the back end of the step. It's not like it has to match up or meet up with anything. It's just a marking line. It's just where the end of the step is going to be. So I'm going to be doing this one a little bit differently because, again, I don't want to be climb milling. I'm going to have to be coming back for every pass. A little bit of tension on the quill. Alrighty. So that's touching. I'm going to zero my collar, my graduated collar this time. Because right now, there we go, we're zeroed. So I need to come down 390. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it down 30. So we'll bring it back. Now, actually, one thing I'm going to have to check here is, you know, that's not going to be, I'm going to have to move this up a bit. I'm going to have to move the blocks up a bit because I'm not going to have enough of a cut or enough space to get my ½ inch step out of the bottom. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to put in some slightly taller parallels and then we'll go from there. So just bear with me for a minute. This may look sketchy, and it is to a certain extent. I probably should have more of the material grabbed by the jaws. I'm just going to take light cuts. There will be lots of cuts, so I'm probably going to pause the cameras in the midst of making those many cuts. Again, I just didn't have any intermediate step parallels. I'll touch off here, I'll touch off on this surface, move over, make it, or cut it out to my 900th thou, and then, or close to my 900th thou mark, and then what I'll do is I'm just going to carry on making the cuts all the way down to cut out 390 thou to leave a ½ inch piece on the end with an overhang, and then I'll bring you back in at that point, probably my final pass. There we go, zero. The last measurement is really going to mean nothing. Okay, that brings me close. Alrighty. So it'll be another 12 cuts like that. Back and forth and back and forth. I'm not going to bore you with that, so I'm just going to stop the cameras here and I'll bring you back in on the final pass. I measured the last pass, or just before I did the last pass, there was something around the neighborhood of 560 thousandths. Took 30 thou-ish off. So, right here, I'm getting a reading of 521, 522. So, if we take another 20 thou worth off, we should be good to go. Alrighty, here we go, final pass. Back it up again. Actually, double check our depth here. Okay, so 859 thou. So on our final pass, what I've been doing is the x-axis, I actually zeroed it off just a little bit before that line as we've been making our passes. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it out, drop it 20 thou, drop the quill in the end mill 20 thou, make that pass, bring it, make this pass with the cutter along, bring it back, bring the vise back this way. Then we're going to move it into the zero position that I had, and then after that zero position we're going to move in another 40 thousandths and make our final pass. That'll bring us out to, should be 500 thou depth, thickness of this tab, and 900 thousandths length. Alright, so bring us back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, back to my zero, because I have been using the graduated collar on the y-axis. And it says 40 thou there, so we're going to bring it down to 60 on that graduated collar for the quill. Add our little oil squirter, give it a goo, give it a go. The ironic part about this tool is it would have been really handy to have this tool to make this tool, because this is what this sort of thing would be for. You could set it here and then take a measurement off of that face over there. And yes, I know it looked like my finger was right close to the cutter, but it wasn't. Bring it back to the beginning of the stroke. Again, this isn't really what you'd call a high production shop, let's just put it that way. Alright, now y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. And add 40 thou. Here we go. Final pass. I'm going to take a nice slow feed. Give it lots of oil. Because we're actually cutting on two cutting surfaces with this. Where it's cutting on the bottom at least is not a full width, because we've already made our full first pass. So it's a 3/4 inch cutter, but it's cutting about 440 thou worth of material at 20 thou depth on the bottom, and 40 thou on the back. So yeah, so it's, again, I'm just going to go nice and slow feed rate, lots of oil. Okay. Actually, $900 thou. 900 thou there. 498. I'm within a couple thousandths. That's for this purpose, it's fine. Alrighty. So that's it for the milling. Bring that up. I'm going to pull these parts out, deburr them, like I say, take the sharp edges and stuff off of them, and then what we're going to do is after that I'll set the mill up for doing the hole drilling, because we're going to have to put a 1/4 inch hole through the centers of each of these tabs, and then we'll have to counterbore using a 1/2 inch end mill down 450 thousandths rather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the camera, I'll deburr, get the mill set up, and I'll bring you back in for the next step. Now, got all the parts deburred. What we're going to do now is set up for drilling the holes on the overhanging tabs. Now what I've done is I've set it up in the vise on a couple parallels here. We're going to be drilling down this part of the tab. I set one of the other parts on the other side so that we have even clamping forces with our vise. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use a 1, 2, 3 block, wipe down the edges of the vise there. And I'm going to use the 1, 2, 3 block as basically as a stop. And there we go. So at this point now, what I'm going to do is take a 1/2 inch collet. I'll put the 1/2 inch collet in into the head here, in the spinner, and take our edge finder, put it in. Again with the Ryobi 18 volts power drawbar. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to run the quill or the edge finder against the fixed jaw of the vise, and once I get that set, I'm going to move to the center of this piece in the y-axis, lift the edge finder up, bring it down to this end, touch off on this end of this piece of material, and move in however much we need to go. So to start with, we're going to set up, find our center of this piece of material. If I remember it, they were all 978, 979. So we'll call it 978. So 489 thousandths. Let's start her up. Because we have to come or bring the vise that way by 489 thousandths. Well, basically, if this edge of the vise was the center line of the center finder at the moment, we'd have to move it 489. That tip there is 200 thousandths of an inch, so we take half of that, take that away from our 489. What we need to do is get this dial on the y-axis reading, well basically I need to move it that way 389 thousandths of an inch with the backlash taken up, pulling the table this way. So there's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, or 400,000. Bring it back to take the beat, then we'll bring it back to where it says 389. And that is, looking eyeball, looks pretty darn center to me. So we'll walk off our y-axis. Now, working with the graduated collars here, that brings us to the edge. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off our table on the x-axis, and we're pretty much where we need to be. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the spot drill in. The number 3 spot drill is a 1/4 inch diameter. It was a 1/4 inch collet. Spot this one and just keep swapping out parts, lining them up with the 1, 2, 3 block, and just keep swapping parts out. And then we'll spot drill all 4 of them first. Then I'll drill the 1/4 inch all the way through next, and then finally counterbore with a 1/2 inch drill. There we are. Yep, that looks just about right. Got it. This is swerve, I think. Yeah. So that piece stays in there for the moment. So now we're actually drilling, so we get some of the motion, as my Uncle Mark calls it. We only need to go down 450 thousandths, so I'm just going to hold it there. I'm going to 0 my graduated collar. Yeah, it's chattering. Got to slow it down. Okay, back down to 440 we go. It's chattering at 770. Let's try it at 440. See if it likes it anymore. It's lightening up on my feed. Gentle pressure until I reach 450. Out she comes. There we go. Yep, a little bit of a deburr on that. There's our 1/2 inch hole, 450 thou deep. There's a 50 thou thick shoulder at the bottom. The only thing that's needed left to do on this particular one is drill and tap the number 1032 set screw that goes in the end here, and that'll be an operation. Again, I'll gang them all up and do them one after the other with that. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn through the rest of these and then bring you back in, because it's the same procedure through all of them, and then bring you back in for the drilling and tapping. Okay, so we're now to the point of drilling and tapping the set screw hole on the top of this block. And we're going to take our little machinist square up the part against that, and yeah, it's pretty much square against the end of the, yeah, and double check. So yeah, we're square against the end here. Now, one of the things to note is that we're still centered on the y-axis, but we're going to have to move it that way a bit on the x-axis, because I'm just going to put the center drill in, which is what we're used to spot with. Because if you look where we're going to hit, we're almost to the edge of the material. The drawings and the original show that the set screw hole is 200 thousandths down from this top face. Center 0. There we go, there's our there's our edge. So we go 100 thou to account for the 200 thou end of the edge finder. 100 thousandths, 200 thousandths on the graduated collar. There we go. That's where we're going to put it. Spot drill it, and then we'll drill it out with a number 10, or sorry, a number 21, then tap it to number 1032. There we go. Spotted. Let's use a different special magic fluid for this guy. Now, I'm not crazy enough to power tap with this machine, but I will use the chuck key in the chuck to help get it started. One thing I have been meaning to do is make a, what do you call, a chuck, basically a drill chuck tap handle. Can't remember who I saw make one. It was either Chris B257 or Tubal Cane. I can't remember who it was. Ooh, I like that that tap. That worked really nicely. I've never really used these spirally pointed ones before that peel the chip forward instead of just breaking or having them break off and having to work them back and forth. I like this. Wow, that did a nice job of that. And if I can spin it up by hand, that means it's a happy little Happy little threaded hole. Nice. So, there we go. There's no need to bore you with stuff that you'll see over and over and over again, so I'm going to do the other 3 just like this one, and then we're going to start making the sleeves. The only piece of 1/2 inch ground stock I have is 4140. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to face the end of this thing, then we'll set up the drill chuck, and we're going to center spot drill it, pilot drill it. We're going to drill it out to 3/8 of an inch. After drilling that, then we're going to start parting off the pieces. I may only do 2 at a time, just simply because I know I have a bit of stick out here. So yeah, we'll make our little rings here, and then part them off, and then I'm taking them over to the vise, and I'll just cut the slit with a hacksaw. We'll pile it with a 3/16, and then take it out to 3/8 after. Nice. Okay, I think we've reached the bottom of the pilot drilled hole. There we go. Set our parting tool off square, loosen off the tool post, shuffle it over, and put the 1, 2, 3 block between the face of the chuck and the tool holder. Hold our scale there, bring the tool in, and just start to touch the scale. There, I can feel it there. Okay, good. So that's at the very end. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to set the 0 on the dial indicator on the side of the carriage, move it over 450 thousandths. That's 100, 200, 3, 4, 50. I'm going to lock the carriage off. I just wanted to break those sharp edges there with the file before we went much further. Boink. There we go. Yeah, there we go. One. I'll have to take the burr off of it. That's fine. And I know that my parting tool has a slight angle on the nose of it because these pieces are coming off with a little shoulder still attached, right? Coming off the little shoulder still attached. Not a big deal. I'll pop them back in and clean up that end after. A little bit of oil back on. There we go. here we are. 4 parts. What we're going to do is we're going to take our little collars and do this fairly simple operation here. And I'll use a center drill just to clean out the center of that, or clean the lip off anyway. Just like that. There we go. My nice little sleeve. I still have to cut the slit in it. I'm going to do the other 3 here. I'm just going to burn through those and I'll meet you over at the vise. Okay, we're down to the final stages. Try to find the center there. These little sleeves have to have a split in them. So in order to do that, I am going to need to, I don't have a slitting saw yet, so I mean, next best thing is a hacksaw. Readjust my angle of my vise here. And I know it's a little bit of an angle versus vertical, but I'm shooting straight for the middle of that circle. There we go. There you go. And then I'm going to deburr the insides there with some needle files. So I'm just going to pause here. When I bring you back in, we should be just about done. So there you have it. Got 4 pretty much identical blocks. I got 4 pretty much identical sleeves. The sleeve just slides into the hole. Get your set screw. There goes the furnace. You put your dial indicator in. You put your dial indicator in that little sleeve. Give the collar a little snug. Dial indicator doesn't want to come out now, and like I was saying before, it actually would have been really handy to have this tool to do the measurement of how far down that step was. So yeah, scooter block, nice little tool. I got 4 of them. What I'm going to do here is I promised my buddy Taylor one. He's my buddy who's doing heavy duty. I promised him one a long time ago. I finally get around to doing it now, and so I'll give one to him. My buddy Dustin at work, he wanted one because he does a lot more for diff work than I do. I'll probably keep one in my toolbox at work, and I'm going to save one. I'm going to ship it off to somebody who I really respect. So it'll be a surprise for him, and hopefully he'll be able to use it. So anyway, that was today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make a comment, click the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet already, please do. I have lots of projects on the go, on the list to do. It all comes down to getting time to get out here in the shop. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please click the like button. I'll see you next week.